Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 164. It is Thursday today. A little rainy and wet here in Cincinnati. It is opening day for the Reds baseball team, which is always a sign that spring is here, that we are moving towards summer. We are a baseball town, and for a long time, just a little nugget of history, the Reds used to be the first baseball game of the season nationally, and so they would always be the team that would open up baseball season, and that has started to shift over the last few years. But it is a big day in Cincinnati with parades and parties, and I believe the game is at 4 today. It's just a big day, opening day in Cincinnati. So I think the rain is going to move through before the game starts, from what I have heard. We will see. But it's warm. It's like 60 degrees. It is such a great day for baseball. I used to work at a construction firm, and we would have these big events, a big party on opening day at the stadium. And I would be the one to greet everybody as they were coming in. In marketing, I would be the one planning the parties. I'm a good party planner. And we would have all of these people, 200 people coming. I'd have to stand. It was so cold. The concrete was cold. The rain. There was this wind by the river. And I remember dreading opening day when I worked there. It's going to be so cold. So today the weather is perfect. Hopefully a little sunshine will come out later on. Okay, today we are talking about, what I discussed in yesterday's podcast was this idea of a movie set and how we are the director of our own movie, and that our movie is our life. And so we are bringing, all of these characters and different scene changes and plots that are moving constantly through our movie. And so in the director's chair, we are the ones who are guiding the overall direction of the movie, and the way that we see it is unique to us. And so is it in our highest and best good to hand power over to other people to direct what is our movie? I guess that's the Cliff Notes version of yesterday's podcast. So when I was thinking about it or feeling into it today, I was focusing more on the movie itself, the actual movie. And so we're just going to play with that for a moment today. What I was picturing was what happens in the editing room. So, and I've never been in an editing room, so this is all my assumption of what happens. And those who work in editing rooms may be telling me that's just not the way it is. But here's how it feels to me, and the visual, the image, seems in alignment with what we were looking at yesterday. So if you visualize your life as this movie that is constantly playing out, and different characters are coming and going, and different plots are completing and beginning and overlapping and weaving with other plots, and the scenes are changing, and the mood is changing, and the music is changing, and the lighting is changing, and there's constantly action. When I visualize a director in an editing room, it feels like they would know all of the different parts and pieces of the movie in a way that nobody else understands or feels in its wholeness. And so we as the director of our movie, sometimes we like to keep things compartmentalized. This character, this plot, this setting stays over here, and this other one is isolated and it's over here. And so we as the director may know all these different various pieces, but they don't know each other. In the way that movies are now made, especially animated movies, you can have a green screen and all of those different characters and plots happening in all different locations around the world, and then the director or the editing team is cutting and splicing and bringing them all together so it looks like one cohesive movie as you're watching it, but none of those players know each other. None of those plots interact. It's just a weaving done from the director level. When I was looking at that energetically, I was brought back to that video that was made years ago called We Are the World. And what I remember being so striking about that piece of music is that all of those beautiful, talented artists were together in one recording studio at the same time. And they were scanning the room with the video, showing all of these famous people side by side, contributing their energy in the same moment to create something cohesive and unified. It wasn't a green screen. It was all together in the same live moment. I don't know that all of us live in that way, and I don't know that we're intended to live in that way where everyone knows everybody else in all of our lives. But there's a way that as a director, the quality of the movie is going to be enhanced when there's a seamless flow of energy through all of those individual moments and plots and characters, when there's some cohesiveness that ties the storyline together, that brings all of those individual parts, pieces, plots, characters, music, lights, everything comes into one harmonious flow and rhythm and energy. And a person who's watching the movie from the outside, who doesn't know anybody in the movie, can flow through the experience without any sudden jarring discrepancies or discordance. I would imagine this is what artists do when they're creating, a song or a piece of art or writing a book. There's a way to be able to see it from the big picture and create a seamless unity, even if all of the parts and pieces don't actually engage or stay in the same space together. The viewer, the watcher, feels one easy movement through the entire piece. So if that's the purpose, or if that's the experience of the movie that a movie watcher would want to have, being in the director's chair of our own movie, how can we create that seamless flow of energy in our lives? And I would offer that the one consistent vibration in our movie is always going to be us. If this is my movie, my life that I am living, and I have various scenes and plots and characters and experiences, it's up to me as the director of my own movie to create a seamless flow of energy in my movie that an outside viewer can feel the consistent vibration of me in all of those different places. And I believe that's the journey of the soul in the human body. Each setting, each new scene is going to bring us a new nugget, a new lesson, a new expansion, a new healing, a new love. Another scene we may separate from a love, we may separate from a lesson, we may complete a healing. And so each of the scenes that we're moving through are bringing different life experiences to us. Are we consistent in our energy and our vibration throughout the whole movie? And I believe as souls, when we transition, when we leave this movie, when we leave this lifetime, and we go back to simply being the soul without the physical body. I believe that's what we evaluate or explore or analyze as a soul. How consistent were we? How steady were we in our vibration, in the way that we showed up in all of those different scenes and with all of those different characters? Are there places where we could have shifted or shown up more authentically, more from love? Perhaps we evaluate our entire vibration, our entire journey in this lifetime, our entire movie, on how well did we live from love? How much did we slide into fear? In each of those settings, were we showing up in love or were we showing up in fear? And then what have we gathered or learned from this movie that we can carry into our next movie? The directors in movies here in this world, the movies that we go to theaters to watch, the directors get better and better with each movie that they create. They get better at orchestrating the characters, at tightening the plots, at creating those seamless transitions, at creating better scores of music and song, playing with the lighting in different ways. The directors get better and better at what they do. It's the same for us. If we are the ones in the director's chair of our own movies, the more often we are embodied, we are the ones in these movies, in these lifetimes, the better and better we get at creating beautiful movies. And then leaving these beautiful movies vibrationally, physically, energetically for others to learn from, to watch, to experience. So the editing room, that's really what I was feeling when I started this podcast, but apparently we're talking about the movies just as much as the editing room. When I picture an editing room of a director with all of the people engaged in creating the movie, I imagine a sort of chaotic scene, and the one who knows the whole big picture is the one whose voice has to stay consistent and calm and steady and keep all of those moving parts and pieces together in one focused flow of attention. It's much like a conductor of an orchestra. You can have all those different instruments, but there has to be that one conductor who is bringing everyone into the same rhythm, the same heartbeat, the same emotional space, the same volume, the same flow of the energy through that piece of music. So it is for us as the directors of our movies. When we are in the editing room, we are able to see all of the characters, all of the plots. And we're also able to end the ones that no longer serve, to pull the wisdom and the lessons out of the ones that feel complete, to shorten the ones where we're kind of spinning our wheels or not showing up in our highest and best selves, to change the scene, to change the characters, to change the music. Sometimes in a movie, when the screen goes dark or when there is no conversation, some of those moments where there's just silence and there's simply two characters looking at each other or looking at the sunset or looking at the ocean, those are sometimes the most powerful moments in the movie. And the only way we can create that is when we're in the editing room and we see the whole thing as one big, beautiful movie. And we're watching it from beginning to end, and our perspective is different. Then we know right here you need a pause. Right here, you just need one word on a screen to capture the feeling of what's happening, or I don't even know, right? We don't know until we look at the whole movie. I believe meditation is that editing room. It provides that space to be still, to feel the roles, the characters, the plots, the mood, the next shift that needs to happen in the story. In meditation, we can pull back our perspective and see the entire tapestry, the entire movie spread out in front of us. And then as the directors of our movies, we get to choose which direction we're going next, what the shift will be. So my invitation is to play in that way with your own editing room. Sit in meditation or quiet space, or go out and be in nature and look at the sky. Lay on the grass, look up at the tree branches. Close your eyes and feel the possibilities of your own movie. Is a time for a scene change? Is it time for the characters to have different direction? Is it time for the director to call everybody together and say, you know what, all these separate plots aren't working. We're going to do one cohesive plot now. And here's how it looks, and here's my role in my movie and how I'm going to show up. It may cause some ruffles around everybody, but this is my movie, and this is what most serves all of us. Because when we are in integrity, when we have this seamless alignment with who we are here to be in this lifetime, and we are showing up and honoring what we know as our best selves, that's what everyone around us has asked for us to do at a soul level. Not to show up small, not to show up inconsistent, but to show up as the best versions of who we are. And even if it creates some bumps in the cast of characters or the plots or the scenes, it's okay. When we are showing up as our best selves, we're raising the bar for those around us. And the movie elevates. The quality, the depth, the emotion of the movie is elevated. So spend some time in meditation in the editing room and look at your movie of your life. And then be intentional. How do you want the movie to go next? Which direction do you want to take it? I am pausing my podcast movie space. I'm going to take tomorrow off to play with my husband on his last Friday of spring break before he goes back to school on Monday. So there won't be a podcast tomorrow, but I will be back on Monday. So I wish you beautiful, quiet, introspective time in your editing room, and then lots of play as we step into this beautiful spring weekend. So much love to you. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.